So without further ado, live from Studio 2A, here's Eb Eberlein.
So here are the cool nights. I no longer lay in sweat, my sheets wet, still tired as I face the dawn. So here are the cool nights. Days so much shorter now, so late the moonrise, so great the compromise. I've been a blind man who thought he'd never see, and I have been a deaf man who'd hear but would not heed. Thought I was a free man, but now I have been shown I've been enslaved by everything I've called my own. So here are the cool nights. No longer lay in sweat, my sheets wet, still tired as I face the dawn. So here are the cool nights. Days so much shorter now, so late the moonrise, so great the compromise. I've been alone while surrounded by a host, and I have hurt the ones I love the most. I have run when I needed but to stand. I've seen good and evil by my own hand. But here are the cool nights. I no longer lay in sweat, my sheets wet, still tired as I face the dawn. So here are the cool nights. Days so much shorter now, so late the moonrise, so great the compromise, so late the moonrise. When the wind blows this way, I don't know where the wind will blow me, what the wind will show me, what the wind might take, where I will awake. When the wind blows this way, when the stars shine this bright, I don't know where I'll spend the night. In the morning light, will I waken to dream? Well, that's the way it seems. When the stars shine this bright, now the wind blows and the stars shine and the stream sings to me all of the time. When the stream sings this sweet, I'll have to soak my feet, jump into the pool and act just like a fool. It's what I have to do. When the stream sings this sweet, when the wind blows this way, I don't know where the wind will blow me, what the wind might show me, what the wind might take, where I will awake. When the wind blows this way, when the wind blows this way, when the wind blows. All right, that's the first song on the solo on the solitude side. Oh. All right, this song's kind of fun. In fact, I pre-sold the first CD today because I went to the dentist and I told him this song was on it, and he said, "Bring it." Hey, Mom, I want to be a dentist. When I grow up, it's fixing teeth for me. I don't want to be a policeman or a carpenter's apprentice. Hey, Mom, I want to be a dentist. Kids these days, they dream of being things like movie kings and queens, like being presidents and college deans, and lots of other useless things. But when I stop to fantasize, I really must be honest. An orthodontist looms large in my daydreams. I see the open mouths of people helpless in my chair, people who don't want to be there and are in more pain than they can bear. And when it seems like too much work, I'll dream of all the fillings, the root canals and drillings. Oh, and then I'll know I'm there. Hey, Mom, I want to be a dentist. When I grow up, it's fixing teeth for me. I bet the hardware down the street has drill bits that they'll rent us. Hey, Mom, I want to be a dentist. The things that tearing kids on these days, like MTV and sex and drugs and suicide and auto wrecks, well, they're fine, but there's much more. 'Cause heck, when I think of a cavity, I know all men are liars who say they don't love pliers to keep decay in check. Now there's wrongs I dream of righting when I'm old enough to fight them. The likes of weakened gums and overbite and dental work that just don't work right. I know there's lots of kids my age who know the good Lord meant us to be the kind of dentists any kid would love to be. Hey, Mom, I want to be a dentist. When I grow up, it's fixing teeth for me. I'll live in Santa Monica, have offices in Venice. Hey, Mom, I want to be a dentist. Oh, my heroes have always been dentists, yes. Good evening, Matt.
Good evening, Eb. You're tuned in to 91.3 KXCI Tucson. My name's Matt Miller. This is Locals Only, and we're live in Studio 2A here with Eb Eberlein in advance of the double album release coming up on Sunday over at House of Bards.
Yes, sir. Oh, too many years in the making.
So why don't we start there? We'll begin at the beginning, which is as good a place as any, I suppose. But when did you start working on this album?
Well, some of the songs have been in my repertoire for a long, long time, but this is kind of a sad story in a way. I think it was 7 years ago. I went in the studio, did the entire album with Duncan Stitt in a writer's room. I love Duncan to death. I'm almost thinking it should be his name on the album sometimes because he's such a wonderful guy to work with. The very first song that I tried to record in there, my wrist died. And when I went to the doctor, it turned out all the cartilage was gone in both my wrists.
Wow.
And it was painful. And I spent 2 years rebuilding my wrist, couldn't play guitar for a year and a half. And I got over it. And about 3 years ago, I got serious about getting it done. In fact, one of the tracks on the album, which we're not going to hear tonight, you're going to have to buy it for this, folks. One of the last things Stephen George did in the studio before he passed was a duet that we did together. And when I pitched it to Stephen, I said, "This is dark." He says, "I do dark." Yeah, well, Stephen knew dark. But anyway, enough of that. It's just been so much fun. so many people. I mean, over 24 local artists have come in and helped me with it. And I kind of had people in mind for the songs when I wrote some of them. It was like this is an inspirational music community here, Matt. You get to sit here every week and have a concert. And
Absolutely. So 7 years or so of hard work to get to this point, stops and starts along the way, setbacks, and then some big leaps forward. When you think about the fact that you're just a couple days away from having it in your hands after all of that, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Yeah, gratitude for the community side of it. I mean, that's one disc is entitled Community. I'm joking, it's my Moody Blues release. They always had a concept, Search of the Lost Chord. So the community disc, as I was writing songs, they just sort of naturally fell out that way. I spent a lot of time by myself. I got this church camp that I caretake up in the Sierra Anchos Mountains up in the Tonto. Spent a lot of time there, just me and the dog. Spent a lot of time hiking. And then it's about a year and a half ago that I ended up pretty much calling it home and moving up there. My personal life changed, and so as I was writing the songs, I realized how important my Tucson community still is to me, and I'm here. I'm here. I come to town at least twice a month. I just spent 8 weeks in town finishing this up.
Wow.
So it's been a very fortuitous health issue that's kept me in town and gotten it done.
Every little push to the finish line helps, right?
Exactly.
So I want to talk a bit more about the concept. So two discs, one songs of community, one songs of solitude. Do you see those two pieces as being complementary, or do you see them as being a dichotomy?
I think there's a little bit of both, Matt. I mean, they're both who I am. I mean, I write from personal experience mostly, and I think that shows up in my songs a lot. It's like I'm not fictionalizing much in my songs, and so they're both very important aspect of who I know I am. But I also believe strongly that solitude is undervalued in our culture at this point. I think of the cartoon in the newspaper, the little guru sitting on the mountaintop little cave, and the hiker's there, and he's asking him some absurd question, right? The hermetic lifestyle, I call it, has been devalued and made into a joke in our culture. And yet it's a really important piece of who humans can be. And plus, I'm 65 years old. That's the time of life that in many cultures, the family's raised and, things are in place, and it's time to go off and look at that spiritual bent a little more. So but I think there's some of that in all of us. I mean, everybody, the most outgoing extrovert needs some downtime now and then. And,
sure.
And the most quiet, stay-at-home introvert, they like to get out with their friends too. So.
I'm curious, was there a correlation at all between the thematic content of the songs and the setting that you were writing them in? In other words, did the solitude song start to sneak into your head while you were out on the trail alone, experiencing that solitude, or just as often were those coming out of a jam session, that while you were playing a gig somewhere and an idea popped into your head? Do you think that there was a relationship between the setting and the kinds of songs that you were writing?
Certainly. That's I hadn't thought about it that way, but the one I just played, When the Wind Blows This Way, that was written at Indian Gardens down in the Grand Canyon. I carry a little backpacker, Martin backpacker guitar. It looks like a mountain dulcimer, but it's a guitar. I'm on my fifth one.
Wow.
Yeah, when you put things on ropes and haul them up and down cliffs, they tend to take a beating.
Sure.
And so, I had clients back in the day when I was guiding, and they all went to bed because they were beat. And I walked down the stream a little ways, and it's a place where the wind funnels in the Grand Canyon, and so certainly. And there's a song on the Solitude side. A lot of the Solitude songs were written out somewhere. There's one. My friend Georgia Conroy came in and played flute on an instrumental track called "Thinking of Felicia in the Moonlight," and I was up at my camp in the moonlight thinking of Felicia, but there was a lot of solitude at the moment, you know.
Right.
So yeah, the location plays a big part for me.
Well, you are going to share some of the recorded tracks with us tonight. We're going to jump back and forth a little bit so people can get a taste of what the album recorded material sounds like, because as you alluded to, you brought in a lot of talented players to collaborate with, so we'll give people a little taste of that. And I think maybe we'll start off actually this next set with one of those recorded tracks. So what would you like to share with people as the first recorded one that we're going to hear tonight?
A wonderful KXCI radio personality came in, and when I wrote this song, I knew it was an Al Perry song as soon as I wrote it. It's called "The Last Time She Left Me." So are we ready to go there, Duncan?
All right, here we go. You listen to Eb Eberlein on Locals Only.
With Al Perry.
With Al Perry.
Not for a man to say when a woman come or go.
He's such a trip, man.
Oh, yeah.
What goes on behind those eyes
Well,
is no way for him to know.
Most all the people on the thing.
There is no
people I've
telling
had relationships
when a woman may change her mind. And the last time she left me for the last time. You know, the last time she left me for the last time. Thought that I loved that girl with a love that would never end. But there's only so many times you can call your lover your friend. When she's out on the town, leaving you behind. And the last time she left me for the last time. You know, the last time she left me for the last time. She'd walk out, then she'd walk back in. Seems like she did that again and again and again and again and again. She's gone for good this time. You won't catch me crying, 'cause the last time she left me for the last time. You know, the last time she left me for the last time. Who knows what a man can feel when he's giving his love away to a fast-moving woman who just don't care to stay. It won't happen again to this heart of mine, 'cause the last time she left me for the last time. You know, the last time she left me for the last time.
You're tuned into 91.3 KXCI Tucson. This is Locals Only. My name is Matt Milner, and I'm live in Studio 2A with Eb Eberlein. We just heard a recorded track off of the new album, and you said that that one is actually off of the Solitude disc. Is that right?
Yes, that's from the Solitude side. You know, I mean, when she leaves you, you're by yourself for a while, right? So that's a pretty simple equation.
And you know, in a way, though, going back to what you were talking about before about all the great community of players that joined you on this album, even though that's on the Solitude side, that one features an old friend, Al Perry, and you were just telling me a minute ago about when you first met Al.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was playing... it was a different club then. It's the Surly Wench now. And it was July. And he rented my PA for the night. and whoever his folks that were hanging on with him, they overheated it. And when they overheated it, it blew a fuse. So whoever was with him that night, how do you fix a fuse when you don't have one? Well, you wrap it in aluminum foil and you put it back in, except the fuse is there for a reason. So eventually it blew out the power transistors that night. But here's the community side of that. Doug Grunhoff, the longtime engineer for KXCI here, he repaired it for me. And so it's all connected. I need to do a shout out too to Mighty Mike Brennan on drums on that track, and my great buddy Phil Anderson on bass. I've played with those guys quite a bit, and I love them to death. So,
well, there you go. Solitude and community all pulled together in one track for you. So we're going to get back into a couple more live songs. What do you want to play for us next?
Well, there's another one from the Solitude side, and this is kind of a fun story of how it got written. I was working over on the Gila National Forest in New Mexico, out of Mogollon, New Mexico, doing timber inventory and stand evaluations back in the, this is an old song, back in the 80s. And I got on my motorcycle to go to Flagstaff for the weekend. I'd work for 12, 13 days and then take 5 off and go home to Flagstaff. So this got written as just as an a cappella on the motorcycle ride. And it definitely has that Solitude feel to it. And it's called This Road. Well, this road, it don't take me where I wanna go. Love you slow, but working keeps me on the road. I ain't driving home, no, I'm bound to roam. Yeah, this rambling man will be there when he can. Well, these fiends, they know where they'd rather be. If it's up to me, I've been walking down your street. I ain't driving home, no, I'm bound to roam. Yeah, this rambling man will be there when he can. Well, these arms are never gonna do you harm, near or far. You know I'll love you as you are. I ain't driving home, no, I'm bound to roam. Yeah, this rambling man will be there when he can. Well, this road, it don't take me where I wanna go. Love you so, but working keeps me on the road. I ain't driving home, no, I'm bound to roam. Yeah, this rambling man, he'll be there when he can. Well, this head remembers every word it said. You can bet that this head will not forget. I ain't driving home, no, I'm bound to roam. Yeah, this rambling man, he'll be there when he can. Well, this heart isn't gonna fall apart if you say no. I'll get on that road and go. I ain't driving home, no, I'm bound to roam. Yeah, this rambling man, he'll be there when he can. And that one's just the way it sounds on the album. I did that one. So there's a few solo tracks on the album, just maybe 3. So
what do you have queued up for us next?
Oh,
We're going to do another live one, I think, but what would you like to do next?
do another live one? All right,
Yeah.
let's switch channels here. Back to the acoustic. I generally gig with 3 guitars. I have another acoustic, a Martin, but this old Yamaha, it's been with me a long time. I actually like it better than my Martin. So take that, Martin. So, all right, what do we got here? Seven Generations. On the CD, Joyce Luna and Michael Markowitz came in. And what happened there is I do this deal every month at Monterey Court called the Spontaneous Session, where another songwriter comes in with me, and we each do a set, and then we go spontaneous. We throw songs at each other. And so I'll play a song, and Joyce will say, well, that song reminds me of this. And then she plays a song. And then we back each other up with some vocals, or I play harmonica, or they play lead a little bit, or, you know. And we tell the audience that's what we're doing. Because I was always a big fan of two seemingly very spontaneous acts as a kid, the Smothers Brothers and Louis Prima. They weren't spontaneous at all. They were very carefully rehearsed to the millisecond, I swear. And I'm like, why go through all that effort to appear spontaneous? Why not just be spontaneous? Plus, it's a big part of who my nature is. In fact, that might be part of why she left me. No. So, but this one, it's called Seven Generations. And what inspired this song for me, last year out in the Dakotas, there was the indigenous people were protesting against the pipeline. I think most people are familiar with that from the news. And a group of veterans came out to stand and take basically to take the fire from the law enforcement that was really being rough on those Native people. And when they were ready to leave, the veterans took a knee in front of the leadership, the chiefs and the grandmothers, and apologized for the atrocities that the American military had committed against Native people back in the 1800s and such. And I was so impressed by that part of that whole thing. So that's what inspired the song. I think Taking a Knee has gone a little further this last year, so it's called Seven Generations. When I'm right, I'm right. But there's been times I've been wrong. I don't agree with everyone, but I sure do like to get along. I'm not about to bow down, but there's times I might take a knee. If I could see beyond my own short life, there's a chance that I might see. For 7 generations, 7 generations, 7 generations. That'd be my grandchildren's grandchildren's grandchildren. Now when you're right, you're right. But I know you, and there's times you've been wrong. I don't expect you to agree with everyone, but I do believe we can get along. I wouldn't want to see you bowing down, but there's times you could consider taking a knee. If you could see beyond your own short life, there's a chance that you might see. 7 generations. 7 generations. 7 generations. That'd be your grandchildren's grandchildren's grandchildren. Now your song, it heals me. And I hope my song is healing for you. And if we could all sing together just one time, all of us, there's no telling the healing we might do. Now, when we're right, we're all right, all right. But it's possible for us all to be wrong. We're never all going to agree on everything. But I do believe we could get along. No one should be bowing down to anyone. But there might be time for us all to take a knee. If we could see beyond our own short lives, there's a chance that we might see. For 7 generations, 7 generations, 7 generations. It's time to think about what we might be leaving for our grandchildren's grandchildren's grandchildren.
You're tuned in to 91.3 KXCI Tucson. Eb Eberlein is live in Studio 2A in advance of the release of his double album this weekend. And I'd like to talk about that release show. So Sunday at House of Bards is the CD release party. And what do you have in store for folks?
Well, it's from 5 to 8. They serve catfish. That was a factor. But here's something really fun. My friend Kathy Baker Addy is an artist who paints, I won't call them portraits, pictures of musicians doing their thing. And she's going to have a show at the same time. She's bringing a show over. And she's from Bisbee, from Alaska by way of Bisbee. And it's going to be her first show ever in Tucson.
Very cool.
And she's a big fan of local music here, and she's out all the time listening to music, and so I'm just thrilled that she's going to come and bring. There's no painting of me. That's okay. She's asked me for a picture that she could use because that's what she does. She gets pictures, and so I'm interested to see what she brings.
Terrific.
So
again, Sunday 5:00 over at House of Bards, and will you be performing solo on Sunday, or you have some guests joining you?
I know Phil Anderson's going to be there on bass, and Jeff Daniels has said he'd like to come do some bass too, and artists will show up. It's the spontaneous thing again, Matt.
There you go.
I'm inviting people, and there's no way. I mean, let me run down a list, and I hope I don't forget anybody. Let's see. In addition to Mike on drums, let's see, Jim Lipson did some percussion. Bo Domino, real interesting female drummer, she did some percussion. Don Armstrong played banjo on a couple songs with me. Amo Chip played sax on some songs. Mitzi, Kyle, and Mark Holdaway. In fact, I think we're going to hear a track that they did on the CD. Some friends of mine from Salt Lake City, they're known as Otter Creek. They're a husband-wife team. They've both been Utah State fiddle champions in different years.
Wow.
And they have 3 daughters. And you know how sibling harmonies are. Oh, my goodness. And they were here for a show at Monterey Court and staying with me. This was about 2 years ago. And they were staying with us. And I said, you're here. We should get in the studio. And like, well, what do we record? So their show was Thursday night. Friday night, we wrote a song. Saturday morning, we went in and recorded it. And so that was fun. Who am I missing here? I mean, there's so many fun people on this thing. I know I'm leaving somebody out.
Well, too many to count, but that's a sign that, like you said before, that not only is at least one of the discs about community, but the whole project seems to be a reflection of the music community here that you're a part of and have been a part of for a long, long time.
Longer than people my age like to admit sometimes. A couple that I have to mention here.
Sure.
Jacob Acosta from the Mason Band came in, did some lead guitar on some tracks. The Rossano brothers and Jimmy Carr and my good buddy Dan, Cactus Dan Ovid, did the Dixieland number. Dan plays tenor banjo on that. And there's one more that I want. Oh, Kathleen Williamson and Peter McLaughlin. I think I mentioned them already. I'm skipping somebody. I'm gonna get slapped.
Well, I'll tell you what. While you search the recesses of your memory, maybe we'll go to our next recorded track.
Okay.
What have you picked out for us next?
And I believe Joy will be up for. We're gonna play 2 back-to-back. I think.
Yeah, let's do that.
And I think. Am I right, Duncan? Joy is a track with. This is an instrumental number. And it's actually one of the most difficult pieces for me to play personally. I'm playing slide on this guy. Mitzi's playing resophonic, and Mitzi Cowell, and Mark Holdaway's playing the kalimba. And it's an instrumental. And then we're going to follow that up with going back to New Orleans. Is that right? Yeah, with the Rossano brothers and Jimmy and Cactus Dan.
Very cool.
And woo-wee.
All right, so we're going to hear a couple recorded tracks, and then we'll wrap things up with some more live material here. But once again, Sunday over at House of Bards is going to be the release show for Eb Eberlein. It starts at 5 o'clock, and you're going to get a little sneak peek of the new album right now.
go soon. Wanna woo my sweetheart out of the Cajun moon. Here's some bands in Jackson Square. Give me some etouffee. Wanna go back down to New Orleans, brother, I might leave today. Wanna go back to New Orleans, where you got there. Sit down on the levee with my old buddy and play the blues all night. Give me some gumbo with red beans and rice. That's not all. Gonna hear some Dixieland down at Preservation Hall. Just the other day, I turned on my radio. I said, boy, it's time to go. And I heard that Zydeco. Soon. Wanna woo my sweetheart out of the Cajun moon. Hear the bands in Jackson Square. I don't care what you say. Gonna promenade down Rampart Street and Bonton Lake.
You're tuned in to 91.3 KXCI Tucson. We've been hearing tracks from Eb Eberlein, who is with me now live in Studio 2A. Eb, that one was a lot of fun.
Oh, obviously a community. Obviously.
Yeah.
I love New Orleans. I love going down to Jackson Square. And, you know, you wander the streets, you know, from Frenchman Street, you know, down to St. Peter's and all that area. And you see the groups come together and pull apart, and the same guys that, you know, two guys that were over there playing, well, now they're with a couple other guys over by the market, and they just, oh, I love it. It's just constant music. Mm-hmm. So, and I love Dixieland. I'm a big fan of like Wynton Marsalis is one of the modern masters. He was here at Centennial Hall last year, I think. And good stuff. It's just it makes you smile. That's
Well, I think one thing that's been really fun over the course of the hour here to be able to hear a mix of both the live in studio material and hear, you know, how you played with songs when you had the liberty of being able to work with the studio, recruit in other players to come in and bring their own little touch. And the thing that strikes me is, and I guess this is to be expected sometimes with a double album when you've got the room to play with it, but there's a lot of stylistic diversity. It seems like you really enjoyed the opportunity to spread your wings and pull in all the different musical influences that are meaningful to you on this album.
Totally. It's just such a blessing to have this community, you know, here in Tucson. And I think all the listeners know it. Don't you know it out there, KXCI Tucson? Yeah, you know it.
So once again, the album release is going to be on Sunday over at House of Bards, and gets going around 5 o'clock. But if by any chance people aren't able to make it out on Sunday, do they have any other chances in the coming weeks?
I've got some gigs coming up, yeah. Let's see, the 27th is my monthly spontaneous session at Monterey Court. And it's Annie English is the songwriter coming in with me, and well, we better be careful there. I'll go off on another story for 4 minutes, and we won't get another song in.
Yeah.
In March, I got a number of things coming in March. I'm at Old Town Artisans on the 17th. I call it the best room without a ceiling in Tucson because I love playing in the plaza, the patio there. On the 24th of March, I'm down at St. Charles Tavern. That's kind of a fun one, Matt. You know, St. Charles Tavern became the place I went to have a beer after my gigs. And Liz used to work at Old Town Artisans,
Yeah.
and one time I went in there it was like after a Tuesday night gig or something, and Terry, Texas was there, about 4 people. It was quiet. And they said, "Oh, where'd you play?" And I said, "Oh, I don't even remember. I played somewhere that night." And the people at the bar said, "Oh, you play? Well, bring your guitar in." So I brought the dobro in, and I started playing an original song, and Terry was like right there with harmonies. My original song, he's never heard it before. That's community, That's and so Olivia and Liz said, "Well, why aren't you playing here?" So now every other month or so I play down at St. Charles.
How fun.
I really like it there. It's the mix of Tucson. It's
sure.
got a little bit of everybody there. It's so cool.
So, as a reminder to folks again, the album that we've been hearing tracks from tonight, it's actually a double album, 1 disc celebrating community, 1 solitude, and we've got time to hear one more live track tonight. And what note are you gonna leave us? Here?
Until just a moment ago, I wasn't sure, but this one, Amo Chip just rocked it on sax, so you'll have to buy the album to hear that. But this is the community song on the album. So,
All right.
well, I wear steel toes, use eye protection. Voted independent in the last election. Got friends with names like Jesus and Raymond. Talk across the back fence when we're at home. And I like bagels and I like spaghetti. That breakfast burrito, it sure does get me ready to face the day and all the work it's gonna bring. Get together with my friends in the evening, then we sing, 'cause I'm a Tucsonian, Southern Arizona. I'm a Tucsonian, Southern Arizona. Well, I'm proud to know Arlo and Keith get together down the park come Juneteenth, yeah. And David Wing Tang and Mrs. G are happy to celebrate Chinese New Year with me, 'cause I'm a Tucsonian, Southern Arizona. I'm a Tucsonian, Southern Arizona. Sometimes we face some challenges around this town, but we're never ever gonna let it get us down. We got something keeps us strong, you see. A little something called community, yeah, 'cause I'm a Tucsonian, Southern Arizona. I'm a Tucsonian, Southern Arizona, and proud to be American too.
Eb Eberlein, live in Studio 2A in advance of his CD release this weekend at House of Bards on Sunday. Eb, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me. It's really fun to be on the other side of it.
Yeah.
For many years I was privileged to have your job, and you do a great job with it, and you and Sophie. And so I'm so glad you're here doing it, keeping it going.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much. And a reminder to folks that if you want to hear this performance again, that you can head over to KXCI.org. Over in the next few days, we'll have a stream up of the audio. And at some point in the not too distant future, you can also catch the video as well. And again, KXCI.org for more information